But I was just thinking, when you talk about what we haven't done on the podcast and what might be helpful for people when we talk about 2030
Mhm.
is we have not talked at all about Oceana's teaching, her astrological teaching about Venus and Mars and the red ray and the violet ray
Mhm.
and what is
Wow.
being brought in right now and how that is being reflected in the world. I mean, we talk about the muddy waters of our time. We talk about trying to give people tools in real time to be
Yes.
able to navigate the muddy waters of our time.
Right.
We have never really, not in the time I've been on the podcast or even when you guys started it, talked about Oceana's teaching about the Mars ray and how the world right now, the Mars ray is fighting its last fight before we move into the influence of astrologically of the Venus ray and the feminine energy and about compassion, about love, about um, looking at how we actually address those things through forgiveness, through self reflection, through ways that we interact with each other and work to communicate in more constructive ways rather than yelling, screaming, threatening, intimidating, which is, the influence of the Mars ray and how we're seeing this manifested in microcosm as well as macrocosm, and that this is really being influenced astrologically. And we really haven't talked a lot about that. In fact, we haven't really talked about that at all because it's such a big thing, but it was such a core part of Oceana's teaching
Mhm.
and, what she wrote about in Goddess as the Weaver of Life and what that is about. And I'm excited because I'm hearing more through friends who are beginning to attend goddess retreats and beginning to look at how we bring that energy into the world in a constructive way and in a way that aligns with what people's overall beliefs might be, even though it doesn't seem like it whether it's through the manifestation of Mary, whether it's through the manifestation of other goddesses. I'm starting to see that more in the stuff that I'm seeing online and things that friends are sending me where they have found a way to do sweat lodge or a way to do a retreat that's really focused on the feminine energy as symbolized through the goddess. And I know, you've done those teachings, Linda, and we've tried to get that out into the world in small ways. But we
Mhm.
really haven't talked about that in a podcast. And I
Oh,
think
I
that would
love that
be
idea.
exciting
I do
to
too.
really dive into that, weaving in the things that Oceana taught us, but also the things that we have all gone on to learn and experience. And we have brought it in ways like when we did the interview with Hildegard and, what that's like delving back 1,000 years to those wild, wise women who were
Mhm.
looking to try and bring the feminine energy forward in a time when we
Yeah.
were majorly dominated
Yes.
by, the Mars ray, majorly dominated by the red ray, if you wanna use Oceana's terms.
It's a
Right?
It ju
great
it just tells me that, the feminine has never been totally put down.
Right.
We've always
Mhm.
been there. We've always been scrambling. Um, it might have been in a quieter way, in a way that wasn't as out there, which is what's happening now. It's becoming more out there,
Mhm.
but they never quite gave up. They were always underground, agitating, 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 so that the knowledge didn't get lost. It got passed down,
Right.
and it's now ready at this time to be brought forward. That's how I look at it. When I read Hildegard's writings, I'm like, oh my God, she was so far ahead of her time.
Yeah.
And yet her her knowledge, there are clinics in Germany that are still practicing what she taught people,
Mm.
and a lot of that has to do with feminine principles, how you approach things.
Mm.
How 1,000 years ago, right? And look at Mary Magdalene. She's coming to the fore. They tried to stomp her down, you know?
Make her a prostitute.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
All all
They
just
did their
Right.
best. Didn't work, but it didn't work. So I think it's just a tribute to the strength of women, and now I do believe now is our time.
That's why I really think that retelling the goddess stories is a way to bring things forward
Yeah.
because you didn't grow up with these. That's one of the reasons I delved so deeply into so many stories was I realized, wow, we have a big void here. We don't know these stories. These stories are archetypal. They are
Yep.
instrumental in telling us how to
Yeah.
cope, wisdom practice,
Yes. Yes.
wily practices, things that can help us overturn a situation without being forceful, just being like matter of fact and wise and seeing the bigger picture and going, oh, that's what needs to happen here. Starting a song, starting a dance, doing something, that begins to weave in that communication, that depth of field that gets created with the divine feminine. It's really important.
Well, we're moving the energy. It's, unlike a guy who, how do they approach things? Okay, we're going to get this done. Bam.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's their answer. Bam.
Yeah.
Women,
Well, and
no.
some of
It's
that is
gentler, easier.
some of that is because there are men that are balanced, I think, in their
Oh,
feminine
yeah.
aspect
Sure.
or working on balance, and that's, like, the key because there are also women who approach things from a very masculine
Of
standpoint.
course. Yeah.
And as Oshana taught us, it's all about harmony and balance, and whether
Mhm.
we see that in the yin or the yang, and the other part, I think, in other religions and other places and spaces, they honor their goddesses. Like, in India,
Mhm.
they honor their goddesses, right? The masculine and the feminine is prevalent. I mean, even
In
right?
Japan, same thing. Canon is Kuan Yin, and Canon is everywhere. And she's a goddess of the sun. Oh, that's Amaterasu, is goddess of the sun. She is the rising sun. She embodies what we would consider in our culture the masculine principle
Right.
because she shines forth and she's in beauty, Amaterasu. So it's just, yeah, that
It's
there,
all
yeah,
about the balance, right?
yeah,
Right.
All about
you
the
know,
balance. And
yeah,
that,
that's right.
I had that in the military. I had to balance who I was
Mm,
because in the military, okay, yeah, I was a nurse, but I had to learn all those fighting things, you know? That
mhm.
that was just part of it. It wasn't like, okay, you're just a nurse, you're gonna be over here taking care of patients. That's all you do. Absolutely not. So and it was a really interesting dynamic in me because up until that point I hadn't experienced that. It's
I I love
balance.
that you had to learn that because it contributed to your wild woman self, because you
Oh,
got an education in how that stuff works. And so you
mhm.
can selectively choose to use some of it if you
Oh,
ever
yeah.
right.
Yes.
But and you have other options as well. So
Sure.
it's so cool.
The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. Took
Yeah.
Yes.
the
Yes,
term from Dan Millman, The
that's
Way
right.
of the Peaceful Warrior,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
I mean, Oshana taught us skills for being out there in a really more aggressive warrior manner,
Mhm.
but even in the work that I did, holding the feminine energy and entering into roles that had previously been men's roles or physicians' roles as a
Yes.
nurse
Yes.
and trying to navigate that wasn't easy. It wasn't
Sure.
easy.
Mm.
But I love that we're talking about this, and I love that this discussion from Brooke wound us into talking about this because it is true that we don't have a lot of time to help navigate that balance, and it's not like we're falling off the earth like everyone thought was gonna happen when we hit 2000. It's not like that, but it is a we have to help people navigate this time, this years to 2030.
I agree. I love that you brought that up too, because it helped revive my memory of her saying, we have 10 years to turn this around. So thank you. And I love that you brought this up. And, in my goddess classes, I would periodically teach about the red ray and the violet ray, and I would go through the whole thing. And they always were like, what? What? You mean this is part of prophecy? This is out there? I was like, oh, yeah. This is not just our lived experience.
Right.
It is a time of major transition, and that's why these stories are going to help you.
Well, it's
So,
in Nostradamus. It's in the Bible.
yes.
It's in
Yes.
the Hopi prophecy. It's
Yes.
other prophecies besides that. And, sometimes we forget that there's a broader picture to our daily life.
Yes. Yeah. Easy to do.
And it is in alignment with spirit, but we don't necessarily think of it that way because we're just busy trying to get to the grocery store and buy what we need to buy at the most reasonable price we possibly can because prices are quite different than they used to be.
Yes, they are. All right. This is excellent. What a good warm up for our recording. Yay.
And who's
I
that?
love that idea. I'd love to support it and see how and when we can get the red ray, violet ray conversation out there. It
So,
definitely fits in with the wild women changing the world.
right. So those of you who are listening to this, right, because we're looking at this, stay tuned for the broader podcast that talks about what does it mean to be under the influence of the Mars ray versus the ray of Venus.
Yes,
Nice.
I like it.
Me too.
It's time. It's time to get that
Edward.
information out there.
Yeah, I feel the same. Thank you so much for bringing it up, Sally.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to give credit. I have to call in Dove because in the work that we're doing, and we were really starting to sort of look at some of the teachings, and we're like, oh, wow, remember what we heard back in the 80s? This is
Mm-hmm.
our lived experience right now, guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's our lived experience.
Oh my God, I can see Oceana sitting there now with her hands,
Yeah.
The
Be like
red
this.
Going like
ray.
this.
Yeah.
We each have different hand motions, but the same intent.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
Really so powerful. It was mesmerizing when she was telling
It
stories.
was.
To
It
be
was.
fair, she did always do it this way.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
me
she
that's
did.
doing it this
Yeah.
way.
Oh, no, I have a clear, there's a lot of stuff I don't remember, but the things I do are usually pretty clear, and I can see her sitting there,
And
with
I'm
the
giving you the tools to help manage this because you're going to need to take it out into the world.
Yeah, exactly.
who knew? Who knew? But that's what we're doing.
Yes.
That's what we're doing with the
Yes.
podcast. That's
Yeah.
what we're doing with the classes that we're doing, Linda, we got to get you back on doing your goddess classes. People need them.
We can talk. Yeah. Sounds good.
We
So,
do need it.
I
So
think so.
stay tuned.
Hi, if you're enjoying Two Crones and a Microphone, please like this video and hit the subscribe button. Enjoy timeless wisdom from modern times, all served up by women in the know.